Okay, coming to you live from Steven's Magic Emporium, we have Bartholomew Spankenheimer. He's going to help us a little bit with, what was it we're doing again?
We're going to talk about Clippo today.
Clippo! Okay.
Yeah, talk about Clippo. Okay, so when you get Clippo, it comes together in a baker's dozen 13. Now, they come with a little bit of extra baby powder on them for the shipping purposes so they don't stick together.
Aha.
Sometimes they will just, the edges will slightly stick together. Just be careful and you should have no problem opening them up. Now, when you get the Clippo, you're going to notice that one end, when it's folded, is going to be just a little bit longer than the other end. And the short end is the end that you want facing the audience.
Short end facing the audience.
So, and I'll explain why. I'm going to give you a little bit of tips and tricks that I use when I do this. First of all, you want to get a very sharp pair of scissors so that you have a nice clean cut. And then when you give it a cut, just make it nice and quick. And the reason for the short end being in front is so your thumb can come in from behind and grab the longer end. And when you bring it up, you want to grab this piece as you're pulling this up so that it's not a yanking
So it doesn't fall
process.
off. You don't pull from the gravity.
Because if you just let it fall like that,
sometimes
it's stuck together, but sometimes, I
yeah,
don't know if you
that
heard
makes
it go
sense.
thump,
Yeah,
but
that's
was a little bit
energy.
Of a force.
Yeah.
So that's a good trick that when you're doing it. Don't be afraid to cut it a few times. Come up with a nice pattern and repeat it. And like I bring it up slowly and let go of it.
Yeah.
It works every time. This is a great trick. Like I said before, there is a little bit of extra powder on them. So go ahead and dust that off a little bit if you feel like there's a little bit of excess on there. The reason we give you 13 instead of 12 is so that you have one to practice with.
Yeah, makes sense.
And then the other ones to perform with. Another really nice thing that you can do is you can flip it to the other end once you get it a little smaller or whatever length you choose. And if you go like this,
that's cool.
then you have a complete circle. And sometimes you can even cut it and give it a little bit of a pressure when you pull it apart and be like, oh wow, I accidentally did cut it in half. Just throw some kind of a little joke in there.
And then put them back.
But if you put them back together, you line them up properly and you give it a little bit of a cut.
Voila.
Then there you go.
That's brilliant. Now, sometimes people cut at an angle.
Yes.
Show me that. It's kind of cool.
In fact, when I perform this, I do cut it at an angle. I come out and talk about how a magician did this when I was a kid, and I thought it was really cool, so I went home and practiced. And when I pull my first one up, I yank it hard and be like, oh, no, it didn't work for me. But you know what? I knew I wanted to be a magician, so I continued practicing this because I thought it was a great trick. And who would have known that eventually I figured out how to do it. And so then I thought, well, this is not too bad. I've done a good job figuring that out. Maybe I can give it a 45
I love that
cut and see what would happen.
To me, that's like exponential when you see that at an angle like that.
So
and then you can just go right back at it.
And then I always finish with my little loop, and you can do that little loop at
any size.
Any size, and then that's about it.
That's it. So now care instructions. I mean, you keep them just dry. Keep them in the.
They come in a little black band like this, and I suggest just putting that back on it like that.
Yep.
And just storing them like that flat. It comes in a cardboard thing, or just keep them laying like that, and they seem to be just fine.
What about shelf life? I mean.
Okay, shelf life. Hold on a second. Let's talk about shelf life because it's been many, many years since I made this set here.
This is going to be many years.
How
those are the longer ones that you made.
Yeah, and they have kind of stuck together just a little bit.
Well, that's okay at the beginning.
Still easy to take apart.
Yeah.
And let's see what happens. I believe that they're still going to work.
That's awesome. No kidding. That's the first batch you made for us.
Yes.
Which was what?
Probably 10 years ago. So, and you can even see the discoloration on the paper. I don't know if you guys can see it on the video, but I can see that it's definitely faded. So
it's a winner.
Faded, but still works.
All right, made by this guy who makes a lot of our stuff at Steven's Magic, Esoteric Kennedys, you name it. Very, very talented individual. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.